Gervonta Davis. Well, I tell you what, it's really nice to see, and this is the biggest fight of his career by far, right? It's going to be his very first stint on the pay-per-view platform, October 24th. He's going to be taking on former three-division world champion Leo Santa Cruz and current WBO 130-pound title holder, right? So rather than actually doing the customary training camp in Baltimore or Atlanta, he actually flew out to Vegas, relocated to get away from all the home distractions. And he is currently under the tutelage of Floyd Mayweather Jr. And not only that, he's actually sparring with middleweight Luis Arias. Now, is that wise, in your opinion, Lee? I mean, in his preparation for a guy like Leo Santa Cruz, is that a wise move, sparring with a 160-pounder like Luis Arias?
In some cases, absolutely. Depends on what he wants to work on. But, yeah, you've got this guy like Arias throwing these bombs. He wants to be ready for Santa Cruz's bombs. But Santa Cruz doesn't play. So you get this much bigger guy, stronger, bigger guy. He's conditioning his body to accept those power punches. So when he gets in there, he's like, when he fights Santa Cruz, he's like, you know what, hell, I've been sparring with a guy that's 160, that's elite, okay? Your punches aren't going to affect me as much. I've been sparring with a guy that's 160. And number two, you know, I'm sparring with a guy that's taller than me, that's ranger than me, that's got that longer reach. I'm used to this. I'm used to that long reach. I'm going to adapt. I will do what I have to do to win this fight. So, no, I mean, you know, he's not Arias isn't the only guy he spars. But, yeah, that's what guys do. That a lot of those little guys, they spar with bigger guys to get themselves ready for another little guy. So if it's like little guy versus little guy, and if little guy is sparring with big guys, then little guy can probably handle the punches of that other little guy when they get in the ring.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm just worried about, do you think it's, because it's going to be completely different timing. Obviously, Leo Santa Cruz is going to be much faster. And Gervonta Davis but I'll tell you this. One thing that I've been very pleased with seeing, one thing I've been very pleased with is seeing Floyd Mayweather Jr. I couldn't believe it, being the humble mentor in this. There are shots of him actually tying the shoelaces of Gervonta Davis, working the pads with him, working on technique, working on looking at fight tape, coaching him on strategy. Can you believe that Floyd Mayweather is taking the humble approach and being the Chiefs' second here?
In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. I'm going to lean towards yes. You know, Floyd is so passionate about boxing. You know, he's a zillionaire. He's always talking about his money and this and that. He puts on this show, all these cars. It's hard to see him in that role. But at the same time, you know, he's accomplished all he can in boxing, right? He's going to want to be the best trainer in the world. He's going to charge the most of any trainer in the world. But, you know, to do that, he's got to humble himself. And if he's ready, and maybe he's ready, I think, you know, we've had the death of his baby's mama. We've had the death of his uncle, Roger Mayweather. Maybe these recent deaths and all this other stuff have put life in perspective. It could be like a real sort of rocky situation here, where maybe he becomes that really good trainer, you know, who laces up the gloves, you know, gets spit on him, gets blood on him, ties shoes, all because he wants to be the best. All because he wants to be the best, and because he's so he is very competitive. On one hand, I can see it, you know, but on the other hand, you've got to get rid of that fighter mentality. You've got to get rid of this. You're not in your 20s or 30s anymore. going out to strip clubs every night, and then everyone's going to report on you. You know that. A fighter doesn't want to see his trainer. They look up to their trainer. They don't want to see a trainer that goes out every night throwing $100 bills at strippers, like that. I'm not saying he can't party. I'm just saying something has to change, and maybe something is changing.
Well, yeah, he seems to be taking this as seriously as he possibly can, and it looks like it's paying dividends for both men. Floyd looks to be in tremendous shape, and I will say this: are you a bit surprised that Floyd Mayweather, when he's working pads with Gervonta Davis, isn't doing the infamous Roger Mayweather mitt routine?
Oh, they make Floyd look great. I don't know.
No, he's not. He is working with his mitts on combinations that you're actually going to use in a prize fight.
Yeah.
And it's funny.
I can see Floyd being a hard ass. I can see him being a real hard ass. And difficult to work with. He's a hard ass and probably very difficult to work with. But if you can find that right science, find that right chemistry, he's gold, because no one has knowledge like Floyd. I mean, that's just. I mean, I'm not sure if anyone on earth, even Freddie Roach, who has the knowledge of the boxing knowledge of Floyd Mayweather. It's all about communicating that knowledge. That's
no one who's still alive.
Guys like Joe Louis, he's not alive. Maybe to some degree Tyson or Holyfield, but there were heavyweights for the most part. They're not going to have, because, Floyd fought it in multiple divisions. So as heavyweights, They're not going to have all that knowledge, right? It's all about that discipline. But if he can wrap it up and get serious, I think he'd be a great trainer. If he can humble himself. And that's not going to be easy to do.
Well, so far so good. If you listen to all the reports from Gervonta Davis, he couldn't be any more pleased and insists that Floyd Mayweather during this camp has been more hands-on than his head trainer. So I tell you what, I look for great things from Gervonta Davis, and I think one of the reasons why he's taken this so seriously is because, one, he had so much trouble making weight and was seemingly running out of gas in the championship round of his last contest against Yuri Orcus Gamboa, and this is the biggest fight of his career. I think that's one of the reasons why both men are working so diligently for this common goal, and that's going to be his very first pay-per-view stint on October 24th.